Hello, all, and welcome back. So today I'm talking about another new comic from this week, Spawn number 306. And before I get into that, I just want to say I really feel like I've got the tech figured out when it comes to the audio sync. That was embarrassing me for a bit, but it should be perfect now. Should be in sync. I did a little test earlier, so hopefully everything is as it should be. So I'm not sure how many of my viewers are regularly reading this comic Spawn, but if you didn't know, it like recently broke the record for the longest running independent comic. The previous record holder was Dave Sim's Cerebus, which ran for 300 issues between like 1977 or 78 and 2004. And then Spawn, which had its issue number 1 in 1992, finally surpassed that record late last year. What was it, August or September? And now is up to 306. So it's funny, like every single cover now, Todd's pointing this out. He's going to put like the banner on the top, the world record breaking comic, because every new issue now is now breaking the record that he held the month before. So that's it's a nice little accomplishment. And I've talked before on the channel about how I think it's kind of nuts that these long running titles from Marvel and DC do this renumbering, where, like even Action Comics and Detective Comics, they've gone back to their original numbering, but there was a period from like 2011 to 2014 or 15, maybe even 16, where they just restarted number 1. And it's like, if you get that far up in the numbers, don't quit. Just like keep that number. That's a badge of honor that you were able to publish this title for that long, to have that sort of continued success. Again, it's just kind of nuts to me that they would do that. But there is that boost that comes along when you relaunch with like a new number 1. But anyway, this issue, Spawn 306, is exciting. I haven't reviewed every issue of this since 300. I did a video for a review of issue 300. That was a big one. It had a lot of great artists. And the next couple issues were fun too, but it didn't quite have, I think, the push or like the draw of like a super big name popular artist on it. No offense to, both Todd McFarlane and Jason Sean Alexander, who worked on these issues from 300 to 305. They're great. And of course, Todd McFarlane, more than A-list, he's like S-tier artist. Best of the best. But he's not actually drawing every issue. But with this issue, they finally brought in a new guy who's probably a fan favorite for Spawn fans, going back to, he had a run on the title from like the 150s and 160s. So, more than half the run ago. And also, you may know this artist from his run on a couple different Marvel and DC books. I think he drew Suicide Squad recently. And also, any X-Men fans tuning in, he did a run on X-Men that I actually have not read yet, around the 420s, 430s, Uncanny X-Men. But that's also part of the reason I didn't read it, was because it was written by Chuck Austin, who, we make fun of for good reason, or if you remember that, making fun of Chuck Austin's writing. But anyway, Philip Tan, the artist who's worked on Suicide Squad, X-Men, other books, now back on Spawn for 3 issues here. So I think that's pretty exciting, and it's great work in this issue. It was a lot of fun to read the art in here, and actually, he did a couple of preview pages in the last issue, got an early start with 305, and that's where this Spawn illustration I'm working on today, that's where that came from. This is my version of a Philip Tan Spawn drawing from 305. And 306 is great. There's a lot of different inkers, though, so there's, I might say, a little bit of inconsistency in the inking style. Like in the credits, it says, Philip Tan did all the pencil work, and then the inking was done by various other people, including Tan himself, Jonathan Glapion, and Todd McFarlane did some inks, but Todd McFarlane's got a very distinctive inking style, and so unless I'm wrong, it really looks like Todd only inked pages 2 and 3 in issue 306. But again, I could be wrong about that, but just going based on what I know about their styles, that's what it looks like to me. So in terms of plot in this issue, this is a real rapid pace, rapid fire, like a lot of stuff happens. And even in the editorial in the back, I think one of the production designers or someone that works with Todd at Todd McFarlane Productions, John Goff. He's writing this this page of text in the back. And he's saying like it's supposed to be this sort of whirlwind, discombobulated. Is that a word? Very disorienting experience, both for the title character Spawn, Al Simmons, as well as for the reader. So if you feel confused while you're reading it, don't worry. That's not a bug. That's a feature. But I mean, I had a bit of that while I was reading this, although, to be honest, like I'm always a little bit confused when I read Spawn comics. Like Todd, it's a little better when Todd brings in like an outside writer, but that's not very often. But like if you remember way back, he had those fill-in issues with writers for issues 8, 9, 10, and 11, where Alan Moore, Neil Gaiman, Dave Sim of Cerebus, and Frank Miller all came in and wrote an issue. And I remember those issues very vividly. Like it was always clear what was happening in the issues written by other people. And even when other writers like say David Hine came on in the 170s or so, I think, I don't know. These other writers I think do a better job of clearly showing like what is going on. Whereas with Todd, it's like I appreciate the passion he's got for the character, but there's often times like I got back into the title with 300 and I've been reading like the past 5 or 6 issues, and it's like I don't know if I could accurately recap the plot of what was going on in those issues, but I'm going to do my best with this issue. Let's see, right before this, in the previous issue, Spawn was fighting medieval Spawn and killed him, and he was being helped out by She-Spawn and a character called, is it still the Redeemer or the Revealer? They might have changed his name, but it's like a sort of a fallen angel character. But the very beginning of this issue, it's like toss all that information out the window because everything you thought you knew is over. No, it's Spawn gets sucked into some sort of orange vortex thing. We don't know, and it's like it seems like he's drawn into this post-apocalyptic far future thing because it's not even so much. It doesn't even seem so much like it's Spawn's comic this month. Like 306 seems like a lot of it's focusing on these new characters. So who are these new characters? And a better question from my point of view, who created these new characters? Because the other thing about this is Philip Tan is not just back on art with 306. He's got plot and script credit here that he's sharing with Todd. So they work together on the art, pencils and inks, as well as who knows what the split of the work was, but some of the script was from Philip and some of the script was from Todd, and same with the plot. So I'm curious, like they got these new characters. Are these new characters created by Philip or by Todd or by both of them working together or what? I'm curious. I'm more than curious here. So you know what I just realized? I got to refresh. You guys haven't even seen me do my art yet. What an embarrassing start. Even though I got all the technical stuff worked out, I've still got to boom. So that's what I've been doing. Gosh, don't I feel dumb? Anyway, thanks for sticking with me. So yeah, there you go. There you go. You never know what kind of mistake you're going to make next. But that's what happens when you go live. So anyway, who created these new characters? The new characters being, one, we've got Raptor and Claudiaz. And they're sort of, again, if you're an X-Men fan, it's not like a perfect comparison, but they've got this sort of power bond or combination of powers. So I guess I might say, what's the DC version of that? Like the Wonder Twins. And what's the Marvel version of that? Fenris from the X-Men. But again, it's not perfect comparisons. For one thing, I don't think that Raptor and Claudiaz are related in this new issue of Spawn. But I could be wrong. But okay, so first big spoiler for this issue. You've been warned, don't get too attached to Claudiaz because it looks like someone or something definitely, well, what happens is their head gets chopped off, but we don't know exactly who it was. Raptor blames Spawn, and that's like the cliffhanger here of like, did Spawn cut off her head? Or was it, another agent of heaven or hell? I'm not entirely clear about that. And in fact, so it's like, okay, one thing is in the solicitations for this issue, they talk about This is like the new origin of Ninja Spawn. And it's so funny they said that because I didn't realize that. I went back and looked at the solicitations after I read the issue. And it's like, this is the origin of Ninja Spawn. But there's not really anything in the comic itself that would indicate that. So maybe, I mean, there's a couple options. One, they changed the plot from what the original solicitations were, and they made it less about this new character, Ninja Spawn. Or Ninja Spawn's in here, and we just don't know it yet. Like maybe Raptor becomes Ninja Spawn, or it's just funny that they said Ninja because as I was reading it, like the panel where Spawn supposedly just slices off Claudia's head, and I'm not even sure the pronunciation of it because it's like Claudia with a Z at the end. So maybe it's Claudia Z, but it's all one word. So I keep saying Claudia's. I don't know. It's the future. It's going to be a popular name. Just you wait. But in that panel where Spawn supposedly chops off her head, and it's kind of gory. You know, I always do a gore check when I'm talking about these violent comic books. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of gory. Not going to get a Comics Code seal of approval on this one, guys. But it really looks like Spawn or whoever it is has this like one just green glowing eye versus the normal two green glowing eyes we've got here. So I was thinking like, it just reminded me of Metal Gear Solid. I was like, you're that ninja. It honestly looked like Gray Fox had just shown up and chopped off this character's head. But I don't think that's what it is. I think it was, according to the script on these pages, it seems like Spawn, again, was so discombobulated, so disoriented, traveling through time and space against his will that, like, when he popped out into the future, the first thing he does is just chop off the head of the pretty girl sitting down and having a conversation with the more demon-looking guy, Raptor, who looks like he could be an agent of hell. He doesn't look like a dinosaur, I'll tell you that. This Raptor looks like he's kind of like he's got sort of an anime look to him. I'll say that. And besides that, I mean, this is like top 10 anime betrayal time. And I mean, at this point, can Raptor and Spawn ever be friends? No, it seems unlikely. All signs point to no. But you know, even before Spawn shows up, there's some other foreshadowing, some story seeding going on in this issue that's kind of interesting. Again, the return of a popular villain. If you've read any Spawn, you've probably heard of this guy, or even if you only watched the Spawn cartoon on HBO back in the 90s. Do you remember the serial killer Billy Kincaid? Because he is back. He is here, and he is causing nothing but trouble, is what it seems like. He's going to make you scream and scream and scream. The funny thing, if I could say anything about a serial killer is funny, is that with Billy Kincaid, like he premiered in Spawn issue 5, so going way back. And it's actually, the story goes that like the first couple issues, like Todd's wife Wanda was helping him edit the book. But, you know, they're still happily married. They've got, you know, a family and everything. They're still together. But she walked off the book after issue 5. She was like, I'm not editing this anymore. Because it was about this serial killer that was like, he was an ice cream man that was killing young children. So just really dark. And again, there is some goriness in that issue. But, you know, that's you kind of know what to expect when you pick up an issue of Spawn. It's like, he's a hellspawn. He's a demon. There's going to be some unpleasant circumstances at play. But, you know, for some people, they're more into that than others. For me, it's like, I'm just a super big fan of Todd McFarlane. But if he was doing superheroes, you know, more traditional stuff like Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, you know, I'd be down for that if that's what he wanted to do. But I also appreciate that, again, he's got the world record-breaking title for his own work, his own character, Spawn. So that is more than impressive. That's a really cool thing to do, actually, to have like your own character be the world record-breaking comic book run out of all of them. So anyway, back to the plot. Before Spawn shows up, we get a little bit of like Raptor and Claudia's in action, and it's fun. It's fun here because there's a couple of like biblical references, and it's funny. Like they're apparently searching for something called the Heart of Heavens, which is, I don't know if this is like Todd or Philip or who's writing it, like if they're doing this on purpose, like making a biblical verse reference. But if they are, this shows up I just looked it up. Like, where is this from? And it's like in Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 11. So that's just neat that they have like that sort of connection there, even though, again, I believe Todd is like an avowed atheist. So he has maybe just like a passing interest in like the storytelling ability of the Bible, but not so much like the this is the word and the truth sort of thing. Not that approach so much, but that's all right. Yeah, so they're searching for that, and they're defeating, it looks like this large angel character called the Legion of 1,000 Angels. So it's like, what, a Gestalt combiner angel all up there. And they beat him, and it looks like things are going well. Like I said, things are going well up to the point where Spawn comes through the portal and chops Claudius's head off. So, you know, I'm hooked. I already was. And I am, again, like, I don't know if I'll read Spawn forever, but as long as they keep having these great artists come on, I'm going to be down for this current run. And it looks like Philip Tan's going to be here for 3 issues or so. So 306, 307, 308. And then announced in this issue, coming up next, another X-Men artist, Ken Lashley. But he's done other stuff besides X-Men. But you might know him from a run he did on X-Men Gold a few years ago. And he's going to be drawing Spawn 309 to 312. So look forward to that. And besides that, yeah, I think that's basically it for this issue. That's what I'm going to say about it. So I'll just ask, if you enjoyed the video, please do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already, tap the bell for notifications, and, you know, if you're an artist yourself, you got to keep drawing. It's the only way to get better. And besides that, I'm thinking, I'm still on, this is again like the bonus Thursday video. Past couple weeks I've done this and it's been fun. So I might keep up with it, schedule permitting. But I will come back for a longer live stream on Saturday night. Oh, Mighty, good to see you. Joining the chat, telling me Spawn is awesome. I agree. It's a great character, a lot of fun to draw. McFarlane knows what he's doing when it comes to designing a character, because he gave him this great mask and the great cape. And, you know, the cape it's especially is so much fun to draw. Like, there's so many different ways that you can approach drawing this cape. So, yeah, I absolutely agree with that comment. But I am, let's see, I'm going to get some of these blacks in here, just to get this a little closer to done. It's really not close at all. And this is actually a much larger piece. I'll just show you the rest of the image. Like you see, there's a lot more to pencil and ink here. But Mighty, actually, no, I don't have an Instagram for this account yet. I'm thinking of adding one, but I did add a Twitter, and that is on my the channel page. There's a link to my Twitter. So if anyone wants to contact me there, you can. And I will eventually, I promise, add other social media stuff, such as Instagram. But for now, Mighty, I want to thank you for joining in while we were live. But for now, I've basically reached the end of what I'm going to do today. So thanks for joining in. Thanks for everyone else that watched either live or that you watch it later. And like I said, I will be back Saturday. So until then, everyone, have a great day. Be good, be healthy, and I will see y'all next time.